We're just about to connect to our next speaker, Anastasia from Facebook Audience Network. Do we have her in the studio already?
Hi, can you
Hi,
hear
Anastasia. Welcome.
me? Thank you. Thank you for hosting me. How are you?
Fine. How's it going? Where are you located right now?
I'm now in London. If you mean my physical location, then I'm in San Francisco, in your Under the Bridge as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we can listen to the song Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers sitting under the bridge, literally, right?
Exactly.
Great. So we are happy to have you here in our virtual studio, and we are now yielding the stage to you right now. You can continue with your presentation, and good luck.
Thank you very much. Thanks. And thank you guys for joining me today. My name is Anastasia. I'm a strategic partner manager. I am responsible for a few largest publishers in Central and Eastern Europe. And here I represent Audience Network from Facebook, which is our monetization arm. And today we're going to talk about bidding and the ways that it's transforming businesses basically as we speak. And here are these three topics that I would like to cover in the presentation today. First of all, we will talk about bidding and why it matters, also like the adoption trends that we're seeing in the market. Then we will go into bidding impact, and I will share some insights from our latest report. And then I will cover some practical tips to get started to make sure your bidding journey is a success story. And with that, let's move to the presentation. So let's start with a basic question, why bidding matters at all. And here at Audience Network, we believe that bidding creates a more fair, open, and efficient ad ecosystem that basically everybody benefits from. And by everybody, I mean publishers, advertisers, and users. Oops, sorry. I'm about to show you a video. I hope, I know that with live stream, it might be a little bit bumpy. So if it's not working for you, don't panic, bear with me. I have a quick slide afterwards that summarize the main things that are gonna be presented in this video.
Today, in-app ads account for most mobile ad spend, but up to now, publishers have been losing out on revenue for their impressions. That's because with traditional waterfall mediation, ad networks get ranked according to average historical CPM, not by who's offering the most for your impression. Fortunately, there is a way for you to get the maximum value for your inventory. It's called app bidding. App bidding lets you conduct open, real-time auctions between ad networks and other demand sources. This true competition ensures that the highest bidder wins, which means more revenue for each of your impressions. And with no need to maintain a complicated waterfall, you'll save time on operations, giving you more time to spend on your business. App bidding, the effective way to maximize your revenue and keep your business growing.
By the way, one thing that I wanted to mention, if you have any questions popping up, feel free to share them in the dialog window that you have in the WhiteNet system. And I also have a colleague from Facebook, Georgie. He should be in the chat to mentally support me and also to address the questions that you might be having. So coming back to the presentation, as you heard from the slide, there are some disadvantages of waterfall. One of them is that basically the waterfall bases everything on the average historical prices, and with bidding you don't have this problem because you have ad networks competing for your impression at real time, and the one that has the highest bid now wins the impression. Then another thing with waterfall is that you have very complex and sophisticated setup to maintain. With bidding, it's way easier to do it. And another thing that bidding can help with is ad latency, because it can increase it dramatically. And with that, let's move to the latest trends that we see within our ad network. So for example, in the last year, the apps that are using bidding with Facebook Audience Network, they grew 7 times. So now there are 7 times more apps on bidding. Another important thing is that among our largest 10 publishers across the globe, the majority are now using bidding. And of all publishers that have adopted bidding with audience network, half of them now earn the majority of their revenue with audience network via bidding. And that proves the fact that bidding is working. With that, I would like to move to the next section, which is bidding impact. And here we see the three ways how bidding is basically transforming businesses. The first one is that it helps to increase revenue with this real-time competition that I mentioned before. Then it also helps a lot with operational efficiency. And another important factor is that it's particularly important for AAP publishers who want to experiment with ads. Bidding is way easier way for them to set it up without like huge investment of time. And let's now dig into all of the components in more details. Let's start with the increase in revenue with bidding. So we recently conducted a big research where we interviewed our largest publishers, and all of them mentioned that they saw uplift in Arbital from 13 to 27%. And on this, I feel it's important to speak a little bit more about Arbital, which stands for average revenue per daily active user, because that's the key metric that you should be using to evaluate bidding success. Because like historically, we've been using CPM metrics of each ad network as a way to measure success. But when it comes to the bidding reality, it's important to look at Arbital and not at individual network CPMs, because Arbital provides publishers like with a holistic method to measure the revenue generated from each user and accurately determine bidding impact on revenue. Here, I wanted to mention a quote from CEO of Game Insight, which is one of our big publishers in CE, who said that bidding is the future of ad monetization because it provides more efficient, fair ecosystem, it helps with ad optimization, and it also, for them, had very positive improvement on Arbital. And it's worth mentioning that 95% of their inventory now goes through bidding. Another thing that is extremely important is operational efficiency, because like any ad monetization manager knows better than me that with waterfall, you end up with extremely complex setup quite quickly, because you have a few calls from every network, from every ad network. Then you have country groups, that you have Android, iOS, and you also need to manage it on a regular basis to make sure that you basically keep up with all the trends in your performance. And with bidding, you have more time to spend on things that are really important. So like not on admin operational stuff, but more on, I don't know, game design improvement. You can focus on UA side and so on. So that's another big benefit that bidding provides. Then I'm gonna show you another quick video. It's from Rovio, where we have their VP of advertising talking about their experience with bidding. And again, if it's not like, if the video is not playing for you, just follow the voice. It's gonna be enough to get the idea.
We have been frustrated with the traditional waterfall model for the long time because we see it as inefficient and creating overly complicated structure to manage. And also we strongly feel that it doesn't help us to optimize our inventory in the best possible way. But ad bidding, on the other hand, for the first time enables us to give equal access at the same time to all buyers and create a healthy but fair competition among the advertisers. It drastically reduces the need for us to manually go in and change the configurations in our ad stack on a daily basis. We already started to testing ad bidding with Audience Network back in 2017, and it's only been growing since. We shared a vision, or I dare to say a passion, to create a more fair and open ad ecosystem to the market. And we both were bold enough to start working towards the vision early on. We have definitely seen a positive impact both on our ads ARPDAU and total ad revenue, but also have seen that the new bidding opportunities attract interest also from new advertisers. All our games are launched to the bidding model right away. We don't operate a traditional waterfall model anymore. And right now, over 90% of our inventory already runs purely on the bidding model. For publishers like us who have multiple games and sizable audience in all continents, the traditional waterfalls take a lot of time and effort to manage. Moving to app bidding has enabled us to actually reallocate a lot of that effort to actual game design. And also our ad specialists can now spend more time with the game teams to help them to actually create ad experiences that are more player friendly than ever before. I definitely think that bidding is one of the most significant changes in the mobile advertising industry over the last decade, creating more transparency, fair competition in the market, and enabling publishers to dynamically optimize their yield.
I hope that was interesting to hear, like from not only from us as audience network, but from real publisher who tested it and saw success with bidding. And like the last thing that I wanted to mention within this section is that for heavy AAP publishers, like we see more and more heavy AAP publishers who want to diversify their revenue stream. They want to experiment with ads. And for example, latest statistic showed that almost 90% of top games worldwide, they have an ad platform SDK installed as of December 2019, which showed the interest in experimenting with ads. And with that, bidding can be a really good way to test it out. So for example, we have an executive director from GSM Games saying that, yes, we understand that we are AAP heavy, but we also understand that not everybody will pay within our game. And having in-app ads is a good way for us to, first of all, like to maximize the value of every player, and also to give a positive experience for the users, because it's also a feature that many users request in like mid-core, hardcore games. And like I said, bidding is a good way to start it at least. With that, I want to move to the practical tips on how to get started. Basically, there are 6 steps that you should follow to make sure you have a successful implementation. First of all, you need to choose the best integration option for your business, which means like deciding on the mediation stack that you want to build and you want to use. And here you have 2 options. One is in-house, and it's good because it gives you like more customization opportunities, but it's really time-consuming and heavy in terms of the like advanced and sophisticated engineering efforts needed to build it up. And then you have partner mediations. It's also called like third-party mediations that they're easier to integrate. They like within these platforms, you can add multiple demand sources, and you already have like out of the box dashboards and like statistics that you can check and so on. And we have a lot of partners that we work with. They all are great. They all are very compliant with our code of conduct. And yeah, it's just a matter of you deciding on your main business needs and find the best platform, best mediation that fits these needs. Another thing that you should do is to ensure that you have like that your auction has enough demand. It's also called auction density. And what it means, basically, like you need to have enough bidders in your bidding setup that compete for your impression. So like, for example, if you go with Facebook bidding, it doesn't make sense to have only us. You need to add more bidders for additional competition for your inventory. And then it's important to build a smart hybrid setup. What it means, basically, like while we are transitioning to bidding, the hybrid setup is the optimal solution. With that, you dynamically merge the bidding auction and waterfall. So when an impression comes in, it simultaneously goes through your waterfall, and it also participates in the real-time auction. Then you have a winner on each side, and then you compare these winners so that you have an ultimate winner taken this impression with the best possible CPM for this particular impression. And another step is to test the write up and add format with the method that matches your goal. Within this sentence, you have like basically three components. One of them is to choose the write up, and it needs to be what we call stable. So it should be an app that has been in the market for a while. You don't plan any massive upgrades anytime soon. And another thing is that it needs to be significant. So you should have at least 100K impressions, or like for different countries, for our algorithms to adjust to this app. Then another component is that you need to choose ad format. And within this, we advise to go for high performing formats such as rewarded video, interstitial, or native. And then you need to decide on the test method that matches your goals. Here you have two options. One is pre-post analysis, and another one is A/B testing. And ideally, it's of course like better to go for A/B testing, because with this format, you will be able to factor out all other potential variables that might be impacting your performance. And pre-post, it's better to use when you have already tested your app with A/B test, you're okay with the performance, you see that everything is working fine, and then you can move your app to pre-post. We understand that sometimes it's quite hard and time-consuming to do A/B tests. So if you decide to go with a pre-post test, this is when it's especially important to look at Arbital and to look at it at country level. Because, for example, let's assume you're running pre-post test and your UA team sets up a campaign, let's say in India. Of course, it will impact your Arbital, but it doesn't mean that it's caused by bidding. So this brings me to the fifth point, like you need to evaluate success with the right metrics. And this right metric is Arbital. And if you do pre-post, you need to look at Arbital at country level. With this, I would like to move to the next slide. So like I understand that the previous slide was quite rich in terms of their content. And if you want to learn more and you want to learn how to start, you can go to Audience Network portal. It has all the resources. It has like one big presentation about the previous slides, and we also have a video about this. And there are many other helpful resources for you to make sure like your bidding journey is really successful. With that, I want to finish with a quote from CMO of Bitmango, who said that the sooner publishers, advertisers, and networks subscribe to future of bidding, the quicker everyone will start to experience the benefits, because that's the future. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that was useful. I definitely enjoyed it. And one last thing that I wanted to mention before we open up to Q&A, if for any reasons, because of time constraint or whatever, we won't be able, like I won't be able to cover your questions now, feel free to send us an email on this email alias. It's our scale team. They're amazing. They're like really knowledgeable, and they have really good expertise on bidding and other aspects. So yeah, let's move to the questions, and thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Anastasia. This was a great talk, very useful guide, and we do have a few questions for you.
Sure.
So first one is, could you please tell us more about A/B test versus pre-post test? How to do and what metrics to look at?
So basically, like I said, A/B test, that's what we would definitely recommend to do, because with this, you will be able to see like a certain revenue uplift caused by bidding in particular. And like it isolates bidding to correctly attribute all the impacts. So that's definitely like, if you have resources and you're serious about bidding, that's something that you definitely should try out. With pre-post, it's okay. Like if you have a super stable app and you know that there are going to be no changes for the time that you're testing it, that's fine to like evaluate the general performance to see how it goes and so on. But it's definitely not ideal to evaluate the revenue uplift caused by bidding. And like I mentioned, like I hope I don't sound like a broken record, but it's really important to highlight that at this, especially within pre-post, you need to look at ARPDAO and you need to look at it at a country level. And of course, like pre-post is way easier to set up. Hopefully.
Thank you very much. Great answer. We have another question too. So how to set up the hybrid ad monetization model? What are the best practices publishers are using today with different ad mediations?
So like I said, there are, like, first of all, the way how you need to set it up in general is that you should be running it simultaneously. So like an impression comes in, and then you run it through the waterfall. Then you have like this magic of real-time auction happening, and then you compare these two bids to find out the ultimate winner. There are certain important things that you should bear in mind, like when you set it up. First of all, you should remove all the price floors on bidding because like they're not relevant and they're not needed. You shouldn't call the same, ideally, you shouldn't call the same ad network twice, meaning that it shouldn't be both on bidding and on waterfall. There are some caveats around it. So if you're on MOPUP and AdMob, if I'm not mistaken, you should also like consult with your mediation. And another thing is that you should compare bin and bids to waterfall when you have a confirmation from the waterfall that they actually have a field. And like you should be also sending win loss, timeout notifications just for the transparency of the system. And another thing which is important to mention is that like with bidding, don't assume that your waterfall is not important anymore at all, and that you don't have to maintain the ad networks that are left on waterfall. You still should. It's just like you have easier setup with the bidding component, but you still should be looking at your waterfall, because like this way you will maximize the revenue that you're getting.
Thank you very much, Anastasia. Great answer. And another question is, what should I do if I switched to bidding and saw a decrease in my eCPM or no change in eCPM at all? Why it's important to look at ARPDAO, as you say?
So like that's a thing that we see a lot of our publishers struggling with, because like we are used to the fact that we need to be looking at CPMs, but that's not the case for bidding. Like for bidding, ARPDAO, it's basically like the right metric, because with some networks you can see a decline in CPM, and it might be because before this particular ad network had access only to like top part of your waterfall because of the position and because of the price floor. And with the new setup, it now has access to everything. So now it's winning the low valued impressions. And with this, CPMs might be declining by the fact, but like it's because of the volumes and because of the ARPDAO uplift, you will see the revenue impact, which is positive. So CPM is not the right metric to look at. Like you can bear it in mind just for curiosity, but ARPDAO is your ultimate go-to metric. Does it answer the question?
Yes, it does. Thanks a lot. And this was a very good guide. We've learned so many new things. And guys who are watching us, if you have any questions or comments, please make sure you follow them on the email Anastasia has pointed out, or reach out to her on WinHub platform via private messages.
Anastasia, I can even now move to the, sorry for interrupting, I can now move to the chat. And if there are any questions, I will stay there to address them. And yeah, like we have other colleagues from Facebook at White Nights. So feel free to ping us over there. And like if you have questions, if you want to discuss anything, just reach out.
Sounds like a great plan. Yeah, let's keep in touch and discuss what do we have rest. Thanks once again for coming to a virtual studio in San Francisco on White Night Summer. It was lovely to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.